I'm sitting at the kitchen table, holding the detective agency's report, and my heart stops. The first page shows a photo that shatters my world. My wife, Alina, in a car with another man. Her lips on his neck, his hands on her waist. Timestamp: yesterday, 23:47. This isn't Photoshop, not a dream, but brutal reality. My fingers tremble, but I can't look away. How did I end up ordering a fidelity check? And what has she been hiding from me all these years? When we married 5 years ago, Alina was my dream. Her smile, her warmth, I thought it was forever. But the last few months, she's become a stranger. I tried convincing myself it was fatigue, work stress. Yet the truth I hold in my hands hits harder than any excuse. The photo doesn't lie. She cheated. And this is just the first page. What else will I learn? My mind screams. Why? I was a good husband. I worked, provided, gave her flowers, listened to her complaints about colleagues. But something went wrong. She started avoiding my touch. Her phone became off limits. Her evenings a mystery. I didn't want to be paranoid, but doubts gnawed at me like rats. A friend suggested an agency. If she's clean, you'll calm down. If not, you'll know the truth, he said. I signed the contract, feeling like I was betraying myself. Now I hold the result. Photos, times, places. Her betrayal isn't a fluke, it's a fact. Anger and pain clash in my chest. I want to storm into the bedroom where she sleeps and throw this report in her face. But something stops me. Fear she'll deny it? Or a need to know more? I flip through the pages. Dozens of photos, call logs, addresses. Each piece of evidence is a blow. How did I not see? She lived a double life right under my nose. Her smiles, her "I love you's" all lies? I recall how she's been looking past me lately, staying late at work, her perfume changing. I thought these were trivial, but they formed a puzzle I now hold. I don't know what to do. Leave her? Get revenge? Or will she explain, and I'll understand? Do I even want her explanations? This report is just the start. I feel the truth I uncover will change me forever. I'm not sure I'm ready, but it's too late to back out. I'm in this game, and I'll find out everything. It all began 3 months ago. Alina, my rock, changed. She was always open, warm, but now cold as ice. Her phone's always on silent. Passwords on all devices changed. She stopped sharing about her day, brushing me off with "everything's fine" when I asked. But I knew something was wrong. Her eyes avoided mine. Her smile felt fake. I tried talking, but she got irritated. "You're imagining things." Her words stung like a slap. I started doubting myself. Was I a bad husband? Not giving her what she wanted? But I saw changes. She stayed late at work, though her schedule hadn't shifted. Her dresses became bolder, makeup brighter, perfume sharper, like she was trying to catch someone's eye. Not mine. I couldn't sleep, replaying her words, gestures, glances. One evening, she came home late, smelling of wine and cigarettes, though she doesn't smoke. Hung out with colleagues, she said, avoiding my eyes. I believed her. But those evenings multiplied. Her phone buzzed with messages, but she hid the screen. I felt suspicion poisoning me. I didn't want to be the guy who suspects his wife of cheating, but every gesture screamed, "She's hiding something." Friends said, "Forget it. It's in your head." But I couldn't. I saw her check her phone when she thought I wasn't looking, slam her laptop shut when I entered the room. I felt like a stranger in my own home. Doubts ate at me like rust. I had to know the truth, or I'd lose my mind. A conversation with my friend Ola changed everything. He mentioned an agency specializing in fidelity checks. "It's not betrayal, it's a way to find peace," he said. I hesitated. Hiring detectives felt like admitting our marriage was crumbling. But living in uncertainty was worse. I contacted the agency through their website. We met at a cafe, where the manager explained. 2 weeks of surveillance, photos, recordings, full confidentiality. I signed the contract, feeling like I was selling my soul. They started that week. I awaited their reports like a verdict. Each day without news gave hope I was wrong. But I knew, if the truth existed, it would destroy me. Or maybe free me. I wasn't ready for what I'd learn, but there was no turning back. I'd stepped onto this path. I hoped my suspicions were just paranoia, but the first report shattered that illusion. They sent photos. Alina went to a cafe on the city's outskirts every evening. Always alone, always at 20:30. She sat by the window, drank coffee, and an hour later left with a man. In the photos, he was tall, in an expensive suit, with a smug smile. They didn't hold hands, but their look said more than touch. I studied the photos, searching for excuses. A colleague? Business meeting? But why never mention this cafe? Why not say she was staying late? Her lies were obvious, but I clung to hope. I didn't want to believe the woman I loved could deceive me like this. So I called the detective and asked him to dig deeper. I needed facts. Who was this man? Where was he from? What tied them? I couldn't just sit and let doubts devour me. The detective promised a full dossier in a few days. "We'll figure it out," he said calmly, like it was routine. For me, it was life or death. Waiting was unbearable. I tried acting normal at home, but every glance from Alina felt deceitful. She cooked dinner, smiled, asked about my day, but I saw only that photo, her, and that guy. I noticed details I'd ignored. Her purse, which she now kept close like a treasure, how she quickly closed her messenger when I entered the room. One evening, I couldn't hold back. "Where were you yesterday?" I asked, trying to sound casual. She shrugged, "Stayed late at work, preparing a report." Her voice was calm, but I saw her grip the fork tighter. It was a lie, and I knew it. But I didn't make a scene. I didn't want her to sense my suspicions. I analyzed her schedule. She said she worked until 7, but came home after 10. The cafe was a 20-minute drive from her office. The timing matched. I felt the puzzle coming together, but each piece hurt more. I didn't know who that man was, but he was already my enemy, and I had to find out why Alina chose him over me. The detective sent recordings of Alina's calls, but there was nothing blatant. "No, I love you," or overt confessions. Just short, vague phrases. "Meet me there. Don't call after 10. Her voice was calm, but I sensed hidden tension. These calls were a code I had to crack. Whoever was on the other end knew how to keep it secret. I listened to the recordings until midnight, sitting in my car so Alina wouldn't hear. Each word stabbed my heart. She never spoke to me so cautiously, so secretly. I imagined her in that cafe, smiling at him, maybe touching his hand. The thought made my fist clench. But I knew emotions wouldn't help. I needed evidence, not a meltdown. So I acted. That evening, I took a day off work, got in my car, and drove to the cafe. I parked across the street to stay unnoticed. Alina arrived at 20:30, as in the photos. She wore a new dress I'd never seen. Her hair was down, makeup perfect. She looked like she was preparing for a date. She sat at the same window table. 15 minutes later, he appeared, tall, in a dark coat, with that same smug smile. They didn't hug or kiss, but their closeness was obvious. She laughed at his jokes, her eyes shining like they once did for me. I sat in the car, gripping the steering wheel, feeling anger boil. I wanted to burst in, wreck everything, but I forced myself to breathe. I photographed them through the glass, though each shot was a knife to my chest. They stayed an hour, then left together. He walked her to her car, and I noticed her linger on his hand a second longer than needed. This wasn't a colleague, not a friend. It was more. When I got home, Alina was asleep. I looked at her and didn't recognize her. Where was my wife? Who was this woman lying to me daily? I couldn't just wait for the next report. I needed more information. I started thinking about accessing her phone or messages. I knew it was wrong, but she left me no choice. Her secrets were destroying me, and I had to know how deep her betrayal went. I searched her purse, drawers, even coat pockets, but Alina was careful. No letters, gifts, or traces. Her phone was locked, her laptop never left open. I felt like a thief in my own home, but I couldn't stop. Her lies were everywhere, and I had to find proof. Without it, I couldn't confront her or myself. I noticed her hide her phone when I entered the room, quickly close laptop tabs. Once, I saw her type a password but couldn't catch it. This fueled my obsession. I couldn't live without the truth. Her smiles became a mask, her words empty. I had to outsmart her. So I contacted a programmer friend who suggested installing a keylogger on her laptop to record keystrokes. I felt disgusted with myself, but there was no other way. One evening, when Alina was in the bathroom, I installed it. 3 days later, I got a file with her keystrokes. It included the password to a secret email I didn't know about. I logged in late at night while she slept. There were dozens of emails from him. His name was Maxim. They'd been writing for weeks. No explicit confessions, but the tone was intimate. "Things will change soon," she wrote. "Can't wait for our vacation," he replied. Vacation? She never mentioned any travel plans. Each email was a blow. They were planning a future without me. I copied every email, took screenshots. My hands shook, but I didn't stop. In one email, she wrote, "He doesn't suspect a thing." That was about me. She thought I was a blind fool. Anger overpowered pain. She wasn't just cheating, she was mocking me. I reread their correspondence, hunting for details. They met not only at the cafe, but also at restaurants, parks, even a hotel outside the city. She lied about every minute spent with him. I imagined her coming home, kissing me, fresh from his arms. The thought made my stomach churn, but I didn't break. Those emails became my fuel. I knew the truth was my weapon. I had to gather more evidence to ensure she couldn't wiggle out. I didn't want a scene or tears. I wanted her to pay, and I knew how to make it happen. I thought knowing the truth would bring relief, but it crushed me. Alina and Maxim's emails haunted me 24/7. I couldn't sleep, picturing them together, laughing, him touching her lying to me afterward. Every memory of our happy years felt fake. I felt like a fool played for a sucker, but I couldn't give up. So I hired another detective to learn everything about Maxim. I needed to know who I was dealing with. Who was he to steal my wife? A week later, I got a dossier. Maxim, 35, Alina's colleague, divorced. He had a reputation as a womanizer. Several women in the office had been through his hands. Alina wasn't his first, likely not his last. This didn't comfort me. It poured fuel on the fire. She traded our marriage for a guy like that? The dossier had details, his address, car, favorite spots. He frequented the same cafe where he met Alina, sometimes with other women. It was his pattern. Expensive suit, charming smile, a few compliments, and the target was hooked. I imagined him feeding Alina the same lines he used on others. But why did she fall for it? I analyzed her behavior at home. She grew more cautious, never leaving her phone unattended. Once, I saw her delete messages, thinking I didn't notice. Her nervousness betrayed her. She knew she was on thin ice, but thought I was clueless. This strengthened my resolve. I kept collecting evidence. To the emails and photos, I added new call recordings intercepted by the detectives. In them, Alina sounded more confident. "I'm tired of pretending," she said once. I didn't know what she meant, but those words stuck with me. Tired of pretending with me? Or him? I had to find out. Anger slowly replaced pain. I no longer cared why she did it. She made her choice, and now I had to make mine. I started thinking about making her regret it, not with screams or tears, too easy for her. I wanted her to feel the consequences. I began crafting a plan to shatter her illusions as she shattered mine, and I knew it required a cool head. I could have stormed in, yelling, throwing evidence in Alina's face, but that would have changed nothing. She'd deny it, turn it on me, accuse me of paranoia, or worse, play the victim and make me feel guilty. I knew her too well. She was a master manipulator, and I wasn't giving her a chance. So I became systematic. I collected evidence like a puzzle to destroy her lies. I had screenshots of her emails with Maxim, cafe photos, their call recordings. But it wasn't enough. I wanted no loopholes for her. Detectives sent new reports. Alina and Maxim met not just at the cafe, but at restaurants, parks, even a hotel outside town. Each report was a blow, but I learned to take them without emotion. I created a folder on my laptop for everything: photos, audio, email texts. I even kept a diary, noting her lies. When she said she was visiting a friend, I verified through detectives she was with him. I documented every step, every inconsistency. It became an obsession, but I couldn't stop. Alina noticed my change. One evening, she asked, "You've been weird lately. Something wrong?" I smiled and said, "All good, just tired." She bought it. Her confidence was my advantage. She thought I was blind, that she controlled the situation. But I was 3 steps ahead. I contacted a lawyer to understand my rights. He advised freezing joint accounts to protect my finances. I did it quietly so Alina wouldn't suspect. He also said evidence of her cheating could favor me in a divorce. This boosted my confidence. I wasn't just gathering evidence. I was building a case against her. Each new fact made me stronger. I no longer felt like a victim. I was a hunter stalking prey. Alina could lie, pretend, but I knew the truth. And that truth became my armor. I imagined laying all the evidence before her, watching her world collapse. That thought warmed me on sleepless nights. I knew my plan needed time, but I was ready to wait. Every step, every lie brought me closer to the moment I'd strike. And that strike would be precise. Alina noticed I was acting differently, but I'd learned to pretend better than she had. I smiled when she talked about her day, made her coffee in the morning, asked about work. I became the perfect husband she once wanted. She relaxed, thinking I suspected nothing. Her confidence was my weapon, so I used this time to finalize my preparations. I met with the lawyer and handed over all evidence, photos, emails, call recordings. He said Alina's infidelity was a strong case for a divorce in my favor. We froze joint accounts, moved my savings to a secure account she couldn't touch. I acted silently, so she wouldn't sense the trap. I also hired a new detective to check if she was planning anything bigger, like taking assets or filing for divorce first. But Alina was too busy with Maxim to notice my moves. She thought she was in control. Her phone buzzed with messages, and she stopped hiding it as carefully. She saw me as harmless. I kept documenting her lies. Once, she said she was visiting her parents for the weekend, but I knew from detectives she was with Maxim at a countryside hotel. I didn't stop her or make a scene. I just added it to my folder. Each step was another nail in our marriage's coffin. My plan sharpened. I didn't want just a divorce. I wanted her to feel the emptiness she left in me. I imagined her opening the evidence folder, realizing she'd lost everything. Her career, reputation, finances. I knew how to jeopardize them. The lawyer suggested gathering colleague testimonies about her affair. I hired someone to discreetly interview a few coworkers. Two confirmed seeing Alina with Maxim in casual settings. At home, I wore a mask. Alina even grew affectionate, as if sensing she was losing control. She hugged me more, said she loved me. But I saw through her lies. Her words held no weight. I waited for the moment my plan's pieces would align. I knew the end was near. My evidence was ironclad, my finances secure, my mind cold. I was no longer the man who'd beg her to stay. I was the one who'd destroy her illusions. And I already tasted victory. I'm no longer the naive man who believed in Alina's eternal love. Her betrayal burned my trust, but gave me something else, strength. I stopped being a victim seeking excuses for her lies. Now I'm a strategist, cold and confident. Every piece of evidence, every detective report made me untouchable. I no longer felt pain, only purpose. My transformation began when I realized Alina didn't just cheat. She thought I was weak. Her emails to Maxim, her words, "He doesn't suspect a thing," showed she underestimated me. That became my fuel. I wasn't going to cry or beg her to stay. I decided to act so she'd remember this lesson forever. I met with the lawyer to finalize the plan. He drafted a divorce petition with Alina's infidelity as the key argument. We included all evidence, photos, emails, recordings, colleague testimonies. He said the court would likely side with me, letting me protect my assets and finances. I also asked him to prepare documents so Alina couldn't claim my future income. I didn't want her getting a penny. I changed not just inwardly. I started caring for myself, returned to the gym, updated my wardrobe, even saw a therapist to handle my anger. I didn't want her betrayal to define my future. I realized I could be stronger without her. Friends noticed. "You look ready for a new life," Ola said. He was right. I also planned to protect my reputation. Alina might try to flip it, paint me as a tyrant or paranoid. So I spoke to mutual friends, not revealing details, but hinting our marriage was failing due to her actions. I didn't want to look weak when the truth surfaced. My mind sharpened. I anticipated her moves. I knew she might accuse me of spying or invading her privacy. But my lawyer assured me the evidence was legally gathered, and her cheating was an undeniable fact. I was ready for any maneuver. This transformation gave me freedom. I no longer feared losing Alina. I feared only remaining who I was. But that man was gone. In his place stood me, ready to fight, certain of my rightness. And I knew Alina would regret choosing Maxim over me. Today, I placed the evidence folder before Alina. We sat at the kitchen table where we once planned our future. She'd just returned from work, smelling of the perfume I now linked to her lies. I silently handed her the folder. She opened it, saw the first photo, her and Maxim in the car. Her face paled. She flipped through emails, call logs, colleague testimonies. Her hands shook, eyes darted. "What is this?" she stammered. I raised my hand. "Shut up. You're done." I didn't yell or make a scene. My voice was cold as steel. She tried to say something about a misunderstanding, a mistake, but I didn't listen. I stood, grabbed the suitcase I'd packed, and walked to the door. She didn't run after me. She knew she'd lost. My lawyer filed the divorce petition that day. The evidence was airtight. Her infidelity, documented in detail, left her no chance. I froze all joint accounts, moved my savings to a secure account. Alina was cut off from our finances. Her career's at risk too. I anonymously sent email copies to her boss. Let her explain how she used work time for affairs. I didn't spare Maxim. I sent him an anonymous note. Stay away from other men's wives. Next time, it'll be worse. I knew he wouldn't dare continue. His womanizer reputation was already crumbling, and I had enough dirt to ruin him if he tried anything. I felt no joy, but I felt peace. Revenge wasn't emotional, it was precise, like a surgical strike. Alina thought I was weak, that she could lie to my face and get away with it. I proved her wrong. I'm not a victim. I'm the one who won this war. Now I'm starting a new life. I've enrolled in courses I'd long postponed, planned a trip to reset. My friends support me. Some even admitted they suspected Alina but didn't dare say. I hold no grudge. Her betrayal opened my eyes to who I can be. Alina's left with the wreckage of her lies. She may try to squirm out, but the truth will catch her. And I move forward, free from her shadow. I don't know what lies ahead, but I know one thing. I'll never let anyone disrespect me again. This story's over, and I'm the victor.